theyeshiva.net.
So I want to welcome everybody. Try to speak in a language that is accessible and understandable to anybody. I don't want you should feel that if you don't know a particular language or slang, you will not understand. I'm going to translate if I say anything in any other language so everybody can relate and understand. And those of you who get things fast, you'll forgive me for translating and explaining what I'm saying so that everybody in the group can feel equally part of this. So first of all, I extend my love and my blessings to all of you. Reb Shalom, it's great to see you. It's great to see all the chevra who are here. Those whose faces I can see, those whose faces we can't see at the moment, but you're present. And those of you we hear and those of you we don't hear. And thank you for the privilege and the opportunity to be here with you on this special evening. I know that it's now coming back to work after a long holiday, and this is a very unique time for everybody and for all of you in your company, just as many people in their respective companies. I'm going to address and share with you some insights, some perspectives, some ideas, and some feelings as a brother to brothers and a friend to friends. First of all, by Jews, we have a custom to begin with an anecdote. So when somebody asked, this first question is if the company managed to get a loan, and Reb Shalom said, we don't know how it's going to work, a loan, a donation. The main thing is to pray. It did remind me of a great anecdote. There was a business, a company that was run by a Jew, and this Jew was as stressed as it gets. Not in times of coronavirus or COVID-19. On good days, he was almost genetically predisposed to anxiety. All day he would run around anxious, stressed out, overwhelmed. The world was always crumbling in front of his eyes. The business was going bankrupt. Life was falling apart. The man simply, who was the boss, could not have a moment of serenity. One day, he walks into the office, 8 o'clock in the morning, and lo and behold, he's as calm as it gets. He's smiling, he's relaxed, he's sweet, his composure has changed. He spends time with all the employees. Good morning, how are you? He's schmoozing. So one of the senior managers says, Rabbeinu, my dear boss, what happened? You're Mr. Stress. You're not stressed out. You're the embodiment of stress. You are the malach of stress in this world. You represent stress in this world. How do you become so calm? And he says, I was reading a newspaper and I saw they advertise that you can hire somebody in a company to worry. You hire a person and his job is to worry about everything. And I hired him. I called up. I hired this fellow. He comes with great recommendations, a lot of experience, 42 years of experience. Job is to worry. And he's now working here full time. And I stopped worrying. I don't have to worry about anything. So the manager says, and how much is this guy taking? So he says the first year he takes $175,000. The manager almost had a heart attack. He says, $175,000? We're struggling with every dollar. We don't know how to cover payroll at the end of the month. We have vendors who don't want to do business with us because of our debt. Where in the world are you going to get $170,000 to pay this guy? He says that's his first worry. Okay, so in life, my friends, there's a lot to worry about. Anxiety is very, very common. It's very natural. In every time, always, especially now. What's going to be? What's the economy going to look like? How long are we stuck in our homes? What's going to be Culinary Depot, what's going to be with this department? What will be my future? So many questions on a personal level, on a family level, on a community level, and on a financial level. Everyone is dealing now with uncertainty. That's the common denominator. The only thing we all know is that we don't know anything. The only time in history that doctors, scientists, even the President of the United States of America doesn't know. And you know, it's not easy for Trump to say that he doesn't know something. And even he, who's trying to make believe he does know, knows nothing. Nobody knows. We don't know. There is an element of uncertainty. And I want to tell you something very powerful. In moments of uncertainty, you could become the weakest person or you could become the most powerful person. Moments like this can change you in the worst ways and they can change you in the best ways. Moments like this are historic. They don't come often, and we don't ask for them. Nobody gets up in the morning and says, Master of the world, why don't you send a pandemic? We don't do that. And we pray that this world is healed from this pandemic because of the sheer amount of pain and suffering so many people are experiencing. But, and I'm going to quote here a line that I heard from Rabbi Lau. Rabbi Israel Meir Lau was the former chief rabbi of Israel and probably the youngest Holocaust survivor, child who survived Buchenwald. And I heard from Rabbi Lau that after the Yom Kippur War in 1973, he came to New York and he visited the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And when he was by the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe asked him, Rabbi Lau, what's going on in Eretz Yisrael? What's the mood in Israel? And Rabbi Lau said, he's very dramatic. He said, Lubavitcher Rebbe, in Israel, Jews are saying, was wird sein, what's going to be? And he said that the Rebbe heard that question and he interrupted. And he said, that's not the question that Jews ask. We don't ask what's going to be. What are we going to do? Me fragt nicht, was wird sein, me fragt, was geht man tun? Which means, in life, you can either be a victim or you can be a leader. In every situation. Either I'm a victim or a leader. And today as well, I can either be a victim and I basically watch one WhatsApp clip after another clip after another clip after another clip after another clip, one more crazy and depressing than another. Although we have to give credit to all the people who are spreading humor. The amount of jokes and good humor that came out in the last month are incredible. My son collected a bunch of, 30, 40, 50 clips, and he showed it to me one day by lunch. I never had lunch with my family in 20 years, but now I have lunch with my family. It's one of the symptoms of COVID-19. You have lunch with your family, you have breakfast with your wife, and you have dinner with your wife and with your kids. A miracle for America. In America, this is unheard of. We're the McDonald's culture. McDonald's and Burger King, microwave. You want it fast and you want it hot and you move on. But now Providence has forced us to stay together and connect. So that's the silver lining in all of this. The humor that came out is sheer genius. And some people's humor, gewaldig. But you could be a victim, one clip, another piece of news, another crisis, another piece of news. And it's important to understand and know what's going on to the best of our ability to protect ourselves. But the most important thing is to remember that in such situations, don't become a victim. In such situations, you become a leader. Not because you know what's going to happen, not because you're not sad, not because you don't have friends or relatives who are sick or passed away, not because you're dumb and naive, not because you're ignoring the health threats and like some people in our communities who are clueless or selfish or just dumb and are violating all the laws of social physical distance. I don't call it social, I call it physical distance because it's really spiritual closeness and physical distance. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a victim in the sense that instead of realizing your inner core and your inner strength, you surrender to despair and to negativity and to anxiety. And this is where I tell you, my dear friends, this is the most important time to be strong. and to let your inner soul, your inner light, your inner neshama, your inner faith, your inner resources, your spiritual resources to come out. They don't always come out in a regular day. You don't need them. But today, when we really don't know, when there is so much of uncertainty, in life you could be one of two people. You're either a victim or you're a leader. And I turn to you and say, this is a time to reveal your innermost strength. This is a time when your deepest power can emerge as a visionary, as a person who takes responsibility, as a person who cares, and as a person who becomes an ambassador of hope, of love, of light, of healing, of clarity, of focus, of strength, and of redemption. Now you might look at yourself and say, I'm just a simple guy trying to support my family and mortgage and pay tuition and make ends meet and pay my bills and bring food on the table, and I'm working in this company and I'm just trying to do my job. I know that. We're all, when it comes to the coronavirus, we're all simple people. The coronavirus doesn't distinguish between scholars and peasants, between saints and villains, between multi-billionaires and beggars. The coronavirus doesn't distinguish. We're all in the same boat. This is the shared language of humanity. We're literally all in the same boat. People feel more connected today, more physical distance, but more spiritual closeness. Why? Because moments like this, we all see we're all vulnerable. You can have millions of dollars, it doesn't help you. Where are you going to run away? Where are you going to run away? To Antarctica? The only place you can run today is planet Mars. There may be a Chabad Shliach there, I'm not sure. Maybe you'll meet him, so you'll have to leave because social distancing from him too. But there's nowhere to run. We're all on the same planet, we breathe the same air, and we share the same world. And therefore, there's a closeness today that we must experience and must understand and must feel. And I would say to you, my dearest friends, that at a time like this, your innermost powers, what we call koiches, can emerge. People need, as Reb Shalom said, strength, inspiration, clarity. And this is the time to be there for people, to know that even when there's dark clouds, the sun is always shining on top of the clouds, even when you don't see the sun. The clouds will move and the sun will emerge. To know that the world is not a jungle. There is meaning and purpose in anything. And to know that every crisis is also an opportunity. Even if it's difficult and it's challenging. We don't believe in darkness as the end result and story of everything. We believe that beneath darkness, there's always an opportunity for a deeper light. In every challenge, there is a new dawn that's waiting to descend. The end of an era is the beginning of a new era. When a door closes, another one opens up. When a window closes, another window opens. And the most important thing at such a time is courage, strength, resolve, resilience, and leadership. This is generally. Now I'm going to get a little more specific when it comes to your work. And that is, don't make believe that you have no anxiety and there's no questions and how are things going to work out. Admit your vulnerability. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to experience the fear. Allow yourself to experience the nakedness. Allow yourself to experience how vulnerable we all are. Allow it. Yeah, you can go out on your porch one morning, maybe when you're praying, and you may start crying suddenly. It's a very emotional time. A lot of death, unfortunately. A lot of illness. May they have a complete recovery. A lot of idiocy. Einstein said two things are infinite: the universe and stupidity. And I'm not sure about the former, okay? Einstein's words have been vindicated now when you see the stupidity of certain people. There's a lot of uncertainty. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Fall into God's arms, God's loving, unconditional arms. Feel that you're not in control, and that can become a helpless feeling, or it could become a powerful feeling. It becomes a helpless feeling if you resist it. It becomes a powerful feeling if you embrace it. Don't resist it. Embrace it. When you embrace it, you'll see it will become more powerful. You know who understood this best? King David has a book called Psalms. It has 150 poems. The Jews call it Tehillim. Read it in English. The most powerful warrior in history was also the most vulnerable man in history. Because he was so vulnerable, he could be so powerful. Because there was no ego. There was no arrogance. There was no pompousness. He let himself melt away in the embrace of God, who is the only one who controls the world. Yes, we do our part. We have to be partners. We have to be proactive. Don't be passive. We have to do what's called hishtadlus and use all natural means to be successful. But don't let your ego take control. Don't let your pompousness take control. Allow yourself to experience the embrace of God. I'm going to quote a line by King David where he says towards the end of Psalms, he says, Nafshi kegamul alei imoi. Im loishi visi v'daimamti nafshi gamul alei imoi. I know how to be silent and experience life like an infant nursing from its mother. You know how a little baby is in the bosom of its mother, feeling completely calm and protected? That's how King David, who was a great king, he was not a pushover. He was a warrior. He was wealthy, he was successful, he was powerful, he was a fighter, he was brilliant, but he understood the art of surrender, the art of vulnerability. Speak about this with your wife, with your close friends, with your loved ones, with your children. You can cry. It's a very emotional time. And from that surrender, a new person can emerge, much more honest, much more authentic, much more deep, much more real, and much more powerful. This is not easy to do emotionally, but this is a very, very special time for that. And from the coronavirus, you will emerge a new person, a great person, a person with much less superficiality and a person with much less falsehood. Which brings me to the next step, and that is work. Wherever you do the work, I don't know the system exactly, whether you're working, some of you are working at home, I'm sure, some of you are working in the office, some of you are in sales, some of you are fielding calls, some of you have to reach out to people. I know that right now, there is a lot of challenges. Number one, you're coming back after a long holiday, you have been out for a while. Number two, how do you stay motivated and driven during these challenging times? Number three, how do you balance and juggle work and family? Number four, the salespeople had the phones ringing all the time, and now you have to be much more proactive. You need to connect with customers without visiting, without meeting them, all of these challenges. And I want to, for the next few moments, address all of these questions and give, from my perspective, some tips. And of course, I'm not enmeshed in the business. I can't really speak from a very practical point of view, but more from a bird's eye view, how I understand some ideas, how I see some, how I want to present some ideas, which I think may be very, very helpful. And then I'm sure the managers and the leaders and the visionaries and all of the laymen can perhaps add and accelerate and develop it even more. Number one, those of you who are in sales, when you call people today or anyone you speak to, don't only see it as a business call. See it also as a spiritual call of empowerment. I want to tell you something I did. I did it before the holidays, and it was very, very meaningful. I got a list from somebody who's involved of around 30, 40 people who have suffered a lot because of Corona and are lonely. And I reached out to them. Some people thought I was joking. It was like a recording. I said, it's Rabbi YY Jacobson. And then I stopped. They said, oh, a recording? I'm like, yeah, a recording. Why is the recording stopping? It was, they didn't think it was a real person. And I reached out to them, spoke to everybody for a few minutes, some longer, some shorter, one purpose, just to tell them I'm thinking about you and I'm wishing you well. It meant so much to them that somebody who doesn't know them calls them up. Every call you make at work, do this. Don't just see it as a financial opportunity. That too. The business got to run. You want to make your money, but see yourself as an ambassador. You're not just selling knives. You're selling knives. You're not just selling kitchen supplies. You're selling kitchen supplies. You're not only selling ovens or dishes or cutlery or whatever, that too. But you're also trying to help people. And just like when you sell them a piece of equipment, it's helping their kitchen. Whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a facility, whether it's a school, whether it's a cafe, whether it's a healthcare facility, whether it's a supermarket, etc. You want to help the people. You want to help them physically, but you also want to help them emotionally. Call them up and say, hey, Mrs. Schwartz, Mr. Klein, Mr. Finkelstein, Mr. Smith, whoever it is, she or he, how are you? Find out about their spouses, their children, how they're doing. Reach out to them. Tell them you want to think, you're thinking about them. Maybe they need help. You want to pray for them. Make it a way of connecting to people. Then you'll go on to do the business. Because first of all, what happens is you create community, you create trust, you create caring, and most important, you're not a victim here. You become a giver. In these times, don't be a taker. Be a giver. You can also be a taker, but the most important thing is to be a giver. Number two, how do you stay motivated and driven in such times? One way, and that is, there is a war going on, friends. 7.7 billion people are fighting a war against an invisible enemy. His name is coronavirus. In a war, there's only two options. Either you retreat or you go forward. Either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. Either you're helping or you become a disaster. Imagine soldiers attacking Normandy in June 1944. There's casualties all over the place. The remaining soldiers can do one of two things. They could say, how do I remain motivated? It's horrible. And they run back home. Or they say, no, now is the great, most important time to fight the war. When you go to work, ask yourself one question. What is my role here in this situation? Am I part of the problem or part of the solution? How could you be part of the solution? By giving people love, light, hope, encouragement, inspiration, and wisdom. There's no person who's not capable of that. The telephone calls you make, the emails you write, the text messages you send, the WhatsApps you send, every person you come in contact with, family, community, stranger, client, customer, vendor, friend, stranger, old friend, a new relationship, an old relationship. You could give them a piece of your heart. When you do that, and you know you're not just coming to work, so just we should continue some resemblance of the old work and see what we can still maintain during this difficult economic situation. Yes, but most importantly, be driven because allow your spiritual life and your financial life to come together now. You are by divine providence in this job. This is right now where God put you. Maybe in the future, some of you will move on to other things. Maybe some of you have other things that you were involved in or you want to be involved in. But wherever you are is by divine providence. So this is now where your mission is. If this is where your mission is, I'm telling you that if you'll open your eyes, you will see every day 5, 10, 20, 30, 2, 3 opportunities to be there for people in a very powerful way. And when you're there for people, you're also there for yourself. Because instead of being a victim, you become a leader. So when you go back to work now after Passover, I say to you, ask not what everybody can do for you. Ask what you can do for others. Ask not only what people can do for me, so I should be able to have what I need. That's important, to have what you need and to take care of yourself and your children and your family. But ask, how can I be here for people today? What can I do? Maybe the way I speak to them. Maybe a few lines that I'm going to add in my email. Maybe a special telephone call. Instead of sending this guy an email, you know what? I'm going to call him or call her and say, I wanted to know how you're doing. Then we'll talk business, but let's talk for 3 minutes. How are you doing? How is your husband? How is your wife? How is your mother? How is your father? Do you have food? Do you have toilet paper? Do you have a mask? Do you have gloves? What's going on? How is life? Maybe you need something. Maybe you need some help. Oh, I saw a great clip I want to send you. When you look at it that way, you'll be able to transform the situation into a very powerful tool. Next issue has to do with balancing work and family. And the way to balance work and family in such times is l'chaim. The way to balance work and family in such times is by really learning how to make times every day to be there with your family. Whatever the time is, maybe dinner is a great time, maybe after dinner, before dinner, but it's very important to make time. Take a walk with your spouse, make a half an hour a day, 45 minutes a day, if you could. If you have the physical ability to do that, you should do that. It's very important to shmooze, to talk to your sons, to your daughters, each age, play games with them, converse with them, hang out with them, dance with them, sing with them, do something fun with them, argue if you're a Jewish family. But just spend time bonding, connecting, studying together, praying together, doing projects together. You have to know your family, and maybe different kids need different times. But make time every day, whether it's in the morning, could be part time in the morning, time in the afternoon, time in the evening, and then get rid of your phone. You have to take your phone, put it on off, put it in a drawer in your office, and not have it on you. Those times, whether it's dinner time an hour, whether you're studying with your child or children before dinner, after dinner, a few hours a day, when you don't have business responsibilities and expectations, don't put your phone on vibrate. No WhatsApp. Even my clips are not permitted then. You'll watch my clips afterwards. They'll be fine. I'll make sure to hold on to them when you're ready. But a few hours a day, take your phone, put it away. Don't have it on you, because those clips don't stop. They are an example for infinity. The closest thing we get to infinity in our world is WhatsApp clips. Put it away for a significant time a day. So by dinner, you're talking to your children. You're listening to your children. You take a walk with your spouse. Nobody else is involved. It's very special times. You have to look at the silver lining. You don't have these times very often. Everyone is running to school. This one is traveling. My life, my gate, we're coming. These are times that we're forced. God wants us to be together. Seize that time. Not all day. You have work to do. It's important. You have time for yourself, time for your business. But spend that time. And that's a very, very important balance. And don't get overwhelmed. You spend that time, listen to what's happening, because remember, you can buy a house, but you can't buy a home. You can buy acquaintances, but you can't buy friends. You can buy a clock, but you can't buy time. You can buy people who will flatter you, but not those who will respect you. You could buy a lot of social contacts, but you can't buy real trust and real loyalty. So these are things that you can't buy. These are things that are cultivated through time, through trust, through relationships. This is the time to invest in this. This will be your biggest investment, to invest in your marriage. Invest in your marriage now. Remember, in your marriage, what you invest, you put in $1, one day it becomes $1 billion. But you have to put in the dollar. You have to invest the time, the mental space. Invest in each of your children. It will pay off in dividends for years to come. Doesn't necessarily mean you sit 10 hours with each child. We can't do that. Some of you have big families. But it means that there is real time. A few minutes, but it's real. Maybe playing a game or doing something else. Talking, listening to something together. That's fine. You could watch a clip of mine together and discuss it, but bond, real bonding. And finally, I'm going to talk to the salespeople, and I want to say to the salespeople, and I know that some of you are having it very, very hard. You're used to receiving calls. You're used to receiving calls and not reaching out to people. And here again, I'll address it again. When you're reaching out to people, you can do it in two ways. One way is I'm reaching out because I need them. I'm in desperate need of them. I'm in sales and I need my commission and I need my success and I need to pay my bills. That's going to make it much harder. Look at it in a more grand way. Yes, you need the business, you need the customers, and you need the clients, and you need them to say yes. I know that. But if you want them to say yes, you have to come from a place of confidence and empowerment and strength. Don't be a victim. Be a leader. You call them up and you say, it used to be that you called me, but now I'm calling you. And it's a great opportunity for me to call you because that way I could find out if you need something. How is life going by you? You'll also discuss the product. Don't worry about it. But don't see it as you're like a Nebuch case waiting for them to say yeah. They may say yeah. They may say no. And you know what? Even if they say no, you already accomplished a great deal. You brought more love to the world. I call somebody and I say, I love you. I'm here for you. I'm praying for you. Even if they say, I don't need your kitchen product. Thank you. Right? Okay. You didn't make the commission on that, but you know what? You brought so much love to the world. That's a tremendous accomplishment. Now you're going to tell me love doesn't pay bills. I got that. I know that. I know that for my life also. I also give a lot of love and it doesn't pay bills. But let me tell you something. Sometimes it does something more than pay bills. It gives you inner motivation. It turns you into a powerful person of light. It brings you into a higher place, and then you can also make more money because there's a certain energy that you bring, a certain confidence. And even if that may take some time, don't underestimate growing spiritually, because growing spiritually, when you become a new person, a lot of good things happen around you. So I say to all the people in sales and all the people in the company, this is now an opportunity to fuse your financial career with your spiritual career, your body with your soul. And trust me, everybody can use a hug today. Now, we can't give a physical hug. I would give you a hug, but we could give virtual hugs. On Zoom, you can give a virtual hug. I hope you feel it. Yeah, I hope you feel it. And it's completely legal. Nobody's going to call child services for virtual hugs. Nobody's going to accuse you of being immodest. It's completely legal. So it's wonderful. People need today a lot of virtual hugs. Give them. Don't be stingy with your warmth and with your love. Just like you sell kitchen supplies because you want people to eat, so feed them also emotionally and spiritually. Give them the nutrients of the soul, not just the nutrients of the body. And I bless all of you, my dearest beloved friends. May God grant you tremendous success in your work, tremendous success in Culinary Depot, tremendous success in your personal lives. And those who need recovery should have recovery. Those who need strength in all areas should have strength in all areas. This is a time that we have to all strengthen each other and become much greater than we ever were. It's a time to go beyond pettiness, stinginess, stupidity, superficiality, falsehood. It's a time that calls for truth. We call emes. It's a time of truth. There's a truth shining in the world now. You know what happens when there's truth shining in the world? You can grab it or you can let it drop. Don't let it drop. Go grab it. Grab the truth. God is bringing a lot of truth into the world. Eyes are opening. There's clarity. There's craziness, but there's clarity. There's madness, but there's clarity. There's pain, but there's clarity. There's suffering, but there's clarity. There's chaos, but there's clarity. And whenever there's clarity in the world, it's a gift. Seize it. Grab it. Hold on to it. Don't get distracted. And allow yourself to become a new person. It's the hardest thing, especially for people who are religious. Because people who are religious often think, I'm already, on top of the world. I'm complete. The worst danger of religion. It's called religious arrogance. When you think you have it. Today is a time when you actually have the luxury to say, I got nothing. I press restart. You know when the computer is stuck, you know what happens? You do Control, Alt, Delete, and you start all over again. Well, our computers got stuck. We're stuck. It's time to do Control, Alt, Delete, restart. Restart. Fresh slate. Get married again. I don't mean you have to make a new chuppah, but I mean emotionally.
I think after making virtual so sweet, people might get married virtually too.
Okay. For some people, that would be a good idea.
Rabbi YY, can I ask a question?
Yes.
You know anyone in the hospital now?
Of course.
Can you do me a favor and send them a message, find out where they buy their kitchen equipment? I'm just trying to take this opportunity and maybe make a sale out of it.
I mean, I also know a lot of people.
I don't really need an answer.
What about in
I
the
was just
city?
kidding around.
Ask Rabbi YY is first.
My kitchen?
No, I don't do residential.
I stick by the computer and I let my wife take care of the kitchen.
Don't give her my number. Thank you very much.
Perhaps if anybody wants, Rabbi YY, if somebody types a question, do you see it?
Well, tell me where to look and I'll look.
By the chat. On the bottom, click the chat. Oops.
Mendy I WhatsApped you. Is Rabbi YY a host?
You could also send private messages. Only you can see it.
You can send it to
I see the
everybody.
chat. I see the chat. Zoom group chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Whoever just sent now. send to everybody.
Anybody can chat. Yeah, no problem.
Anybody have any questions?
Give it 1 minute. You probably have a few.
I can only say that I'm speechless that you hit it on the nail.
Yeah, really beautiful.
Thank you so much. Okay, for those of us who feel like we're not working and not taking care of our families, what can you tell us? First of all, I was once speaking in shul in Brooklyn, so there were quite a few people there who didn't have a job. It wasn't the days of Corona, it was years ago. So I got up one Shabbos, one Saturday, and I said that I found a beautiful idea in Kabbalah, in Jewish mysticism, for how to make a living. So they said, what is it? I said, it's basically getting a job. So first of all, in good times, I would say, you know, it's important to get a job. Now it's difficult. And I think the most important thing is that use the opportunity that God gives you to maximize of the time. And I'll give a few practical examples. For some people, this is a time that you could learn how to pray that you never did in your whole life. You never had time. You ran to synagogue 7 a.m. You prayed for 15 minutes. You had to be in the office. You had to take the kids to school, etc. Now you can go on your porch, or you could sit on your couch or sit by a desk, take a prayer book, maybe with a translation or an explanation, and focus on one paragraph. Talk to God. Tremendous opportunity. This could sometimes give you a gift of a lifetime. Another opportunity is take books that you wanted to read your whole life, but you never had time, you never had a chance, you were stressed. And in the morning or at night, sit, read, study something that you never studied before. On your own even, or with a friend or with your child. It could be Tanakh. It could be a certain commentary. It could be the Hebrew Bible. It could be a certain commentary of the Bible. It could be Jewish spiritual works. It could be Jewish history. It could be Jewish ethical works. It could be something about how the human body works, about God's miracles of creation. Whatever it is, but use the opportunity. Yeah, maybe you want to write a journal. Maybe you want to start writing your book. Yeah. Maybe you want to start thinking about different ambitions and dreams. Go out, think, what are your ambitions in life? What are your dreams? This is a time to press restart. So I know it's hard. You feel like you're not working, you're not producing. So there is the anxiety of making a living. That's a very serious issue of how to cover the bills, and everyone has to do whatever they can at this moment. Allocate, figure things out, look at where money is going to, live responsibly, and so on and so forth.
Rabbi.
But also use the opportunity. Don't tell yourself, I'm doing nothing. I'm doing nothing. You're not doing nothing. You're taking this time like a sabbatical where you're really exploring the most important thing, and that is not the eggs, but the chicken. Invest in the chicken, not in the eggs. Thank you. My question is, during a battle, you usually go into a memory recall. In this case, we only have whatever we have prepped up to now. How do we go out and realistically do the restart? Family-wise as well. The bullets are flying. The kids are everywhere. Excellent question. I like it. The bullets are flying. The kids are everywhere. Okay? Wonderful. And the answer is, it may sound like a cliche, but it's really very much attitude. It's about how you're mourning. The Baal Shem Tov said that the beginning of the day sets the tone for the whole day. You know what it's like? I'll tell you in my work, in a speech. I always tell people who want to speak, the crowd is going to judge you in the first 20 seconds of your speech. The worst thing you can do is get up and say, you ever hear? My name is Yankel. Really? We know your name. That's why we came here. I don't know why they invited me to speak. Really? I also don't know why they invited you to speak. What about this one? After everything the speaker said, I have nothing to add. I agree. So sit down. And then he speaks for 2 hours. The most important thing is how you start. You start with a bang. You get people. Same is true in your day. How you start your day is going to define your day. When you wake up in the morning, don't go to WhatsApp. Don't start answering emails and reading clips. Not good. You have to take control of your day. Spend time learning. Spend time meditating. Spend time singing. Spend time praying. Connect to your inner core in a very deep way. And then your day will be anchored. And when your day is anchored, the bullets will not destroy you. Rather, you will respond from a much healthier place. You'll be able to tune into your children. You'll be able to help your children create structure. Your children need structure. Now, I know it's not school. They wake up later, they go to sleep later, but they still need some structure. But if you have structure, you'll be able to give them structure. So don't fall apart. It's normal also that things are not normal. You got to cut everybody's slack. Don't sweat the small stuff. Kids are going to fight. Don't go crazy. Kids are going to argue. Don't go crazy. The house is sometimes going to be meshuggah. Blame the virus. The house is going crazy. Corona. We have Corona to blame. You always blamed your mother-in-law. Now blame Corona. You always blamed your wife. Now blame Corona. Okay? Corona, yeah. Corona means the kids are climbing walls and bullets are flying. Relax. It's fine. But if you are in a calm place inside, you'll help your family be much more structured. You'll see. Try it out. It's going to come from inside. If you're anchored, if you're centered, and you're bonding with your wife who's also centered, you have to help each other, make a plan for your children. It won't be perfect, but it'll be much better than you think. But you have to think not in terms of a victim. You have to think in terms of a leader. What was it like meeting President Trump a few months ago in New York City? Well, he said that he likes me, so that was the main thing. And what was it like? Well, as you know, Donald Trump is a character. Some people love him, some people hate him. Some people love him sometimes and hate him other times. It was very moving, not so much because of Trump himself, but because of, as they say, the throne. The president of the United States is the most powerful person in the free world, and meeting a president is emotional. So that was emotional. It was also emotional for me to see the president speaking to 400 Jews who were all in yarmulkes, and the president was flanked by 2 people who are yeshiva graduates. And that was very moving. And it was a special moment, you know, what he did for Israel and what he did for the Jewish people, what he did for Mr. Rabashkin and what he did for the security of Israel and embassy and canceling the Iran deal and all that. I felt it was important for Jews to pay gratitude, and I did that. And it doesn't mean, you know, I don't have my issues with certain aspects of Mr. President, and some of his tweets and his behavior. But notwithstanding that, it was a very positive and moving experience. What about the people with office work that are overwhelmed with work, backed up even before the holiday, and dealing with kids, etc.? Okay, that's a very, very good question. And let me tell you about me. I am backed up. I have 5,300 emails to answer. 5,300 emails to answer. I'm looking exact numbers so I don't exaggerate. Let's see. Yeah, 5,231 on this account. I have around 5,700 emails to answer, 5,700 from people around the world who ask questions. And
can I come help you?
With physical distancing, yeah. And they're serious questions, okay? Now, before Passover, I had 4,000 emails. But in honor of Passover and Corona, I got another 1,500, 2,000 emails to deal with. So I understand what you mean, you're backed up. Listen, thank God that you're busy and you have energy and strength to be able to have so much work. A guy called me up the other day before Corona. I just realized, you know, BCE before Corona existed. So BCE, this guy calls me up and he says, Rabbi YY, I'm so busy. I'm overwhelmed. I'm so busy. And I told him, you know, thank God. I got a call from somebody else who says, I don't have what to do with my life. I don't know what to do. Thank God that you're alive, you're alert, people need you, you have energy, you have strength, you have so much on your plate. Thank God. Trust me, there comes a time you're going to look back and you say, wow, I remember those days when somebody needed me. So it's a very big blessing that you have so much work. It means you're making a contribution. It means you have energy. It means you have strength. And the way to do it is you have to be what's called a pnimi. A pnimi means you're not all over the place. You say the next 10 minutes is dedicated to this task and this task and this task. Don't try to kill all the, you know, to kill all the birds with one stone. It's not a way of living. Go into a place of inner strength and then say, what's my mission right now? My mission right now is to deal with this. This is what I do. The best way of thinking about this is, what does God want me to do right now? That's what I'm going to do. Yes, will I be complete? No. Will there be a lot of work? There'll be a lot of work, but don't focus on finishing the work. Focusing on doing what you have to do right now. What's the right thing to do now? What's the right thing to do in a half an hour? What's the right thing to do tomorrow? Tomorrow, let's say you're going to work from 9:30 till 5:30. What's your job to do from 9:30 to 5:30? And you have to make time for your family. But don't look at it as it's either everything or nothing. I'm going to finish all the work, and if not, it's worthless. No, it's not worthless. You look at your priorities. You ask yourself, what's important for me to do? Don't get swept away and carried away. When you do work, you have to focus on what you're doing, one job at a time, and put yourself into it completely. And then you finish it. When you finish it, you don't have to go back to it. People today, they go from here to there, and then to there, and my kid needs me, my wife needs me. Be much more focused. Of course, if there's an emergency, you go to the emergency. If there's not an emergency, do it in a focused way. You hugged Trump. Yes, that's true. I hugged Trump. It's before Corona, so we were allowed to hug. You ever think what the Rebbe's message would be in these days? And if so, what would it be? It's a beautiful, beautiful question, but I don't speculate on these things. The Rebbe, as you know, was a man of God. And he was an Ishalikim Mamish. He was a man of God. And his whole life was one piece of selflessness for God and for his people. So I don't speculate, you know, what the Rebbe would say and how he would respond, because during the Rebbe's tenure of leadership from 1950 till the Rebbe's passing in 94, there was no pandemic. So I can't speculate. What I do know is, what I learned from the Rebbe over the years is that whenever there is a crisis, you never become a victim. You always have to be there and look for the opportunities and help people become better and bring light into the world and bring love into the world and bring truth into the world and bring godliness into the world and bring holiness into the world. That was the common denominator of his life. He never surrendered to crisis with despair and depression. He felt pain, but he always knew the job that has to be done. There was always conviction, passion, and a sense of mission. That's what I learned from the Rebbe, and that's what I try to live by today in this situation. That's the best I can do to answer your question. What message does God want to give us in these times? This is a virus. It's a thing that affects every person in the world. Okay, you're asking me again a question that I, Rabbi YY Jacobson, can't answer. I don't know the message that God wants to give us. I don't know. I'm not one of those people who's going to stand here and tell you why God. I simply don't know. I'm not a prophet. God doesn't speak to me. Even if he does speak to me, I don't know about it. So therefore, I cannot answer this question. What I could say is, and it's important to say is, every one of us has to ask ourselves, what does God want from me? That's a good question. What does God want from me? What does God want from YY Jacobson? What does God want from Reb Shalom Potash? Etc., etc., every one of you. What does God want from me? In other words, what can I do in my life? Where can I press restart? Maybe there's some things I have to completely change. What can I repair in my own relationship with other people? Ben Adam l'chaver, ben Adam l'makim, with myself, with my family, with my community. Maybe there's certain people I should call now. Maybe there's somebody I have to forgive, somebody I should apologize to. Maybe every person in their life ask, what can I repair? That's number one. Number two, I think another important thing we have to realize is that this is changing the world. Certainly, God wants to change the world because it's changing the world. And whenever the world is changing, we also have to change. Very important. A third thing I think we have to realize is, as Jews and as people, whether you're a Jew or you're not a Jew, we are all here to be a light unto the world. Isaiah says you're a light unto the nations. You're an ambassador to the world. This is a time that every person connected to God has to be an ambassador, a leader, to help the world accept the change. It's a time when people are receptive to much more spirituality, to much more truth. And every one of us can be such a teacher. How? Through conversations, through emails, through personal relationships, or any other way you can. This one has money, this one has a pen, this one has a mouth, this one has a mind, this one has social skills, this one has other skills. Every one of us needs to be an agent of change. So you say, what does God want from us? Exactly what he wants, I don't know. But what I do know is, and I think all of Judaism teaches this, God wants us all to be agents of change. Change to what? Change to a world that is more healed, a world that is more redeemed, a world that is more filled with charity, with compassion, with love, with kindness. And I don't mean here superficial words, oh, let's be nice, let's not kill each other. I'm talking about an internal transformation of consciousness. I don't know if you know what I mean, but any one of you who has ever dealt with spiritual ideas in life, everything you have learned is for now. This is the time where you could really change things inside of you and inside of other people. So I think God wants a lot of things. What those things are exactly, I can't answer, but I think all of us have to rise to the occasion and really think much bigger about our lives, the lives that we affect around us. I'm trying to give you real answers. I'm not trying, to tell you just superficial, nice stuff. Okay, this looks like the last question, right? So my dearest friends, my love and blessings to all of you. Stay strong, stay united, stay focused, and we will overcome this together physically distant, but spiritually one and united.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Shalom
L'chaim.
Michael, for setting this up. Unbelievable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Try to make some money also.
Tachlis, Oishi, do I have to come to work tomorrow?
I forgot to mention that if I'm not mistaken, Culinary Depot was created to make money.
So, Nick, you got your answer.
Reb Shalom says forget about it. No. Make money. But remember that when you make money, the ultimate purpose of making the money is to generate real money. The Balatanya says that kesef is ava and zahav is youre. Silver is love and gold is awe. So make the gold and the silver, but in the process also create love and awe.
How do you make yourself taka shalom, like you said, with the inner, like you said, with what Hashem wants from us? How do you taka work on that?
You have to start. You have to start learning Chassidus every day.
He has to join us every morning.
You have to start learning Chassidus every day.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, soldiers, go out there and give the world lots of love.
Okay.
I wish every CEO could speak that way.
Listen, we got to work on ourselves. There's a lot of work ahead.
There's a lot of work, but it's good work. It's sweet work.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, like you said, we have the opportunity to have the work.
Yeah, exactly. People complain of how much work they have. They don't realize. You think sometimes people in different situations, they crave the day they walked into the office and like, where do I begin? Remember, a person was created to toil. We were created to produce. We weren't created to be couch potatoes. I'll tell you a beautiful vart. I'll tell you a beautiful vart from the Rebbe. His secretary told this to me. He told me that the Rebbe once walked into his office. He started to speak to himself, and his secretary was there. He said these words: I was born on a Friday. He was born on a Friday, 1902. Born on a Friday. Listen to this. And people who are born on Friday never feel that there's enough time to complete the job. The Shabbos is coming.
Wow.
That's what he said about himself. I was born on a Friday, and people who are born on Friday always, there's never enough time. Shabbos is coming.
Wow.
Yes. So Shabbos is coming, my friends.
Wow.
The big Shabbos is coming. Yom Shekulei Shabbos u'menucha l'chayei elam. A gute Nacht, verbring gut, and Hatzlacha and everything. And we should all see Bekarev Mamish, the Geula Hashlema b'meira b'yameinu v'sachin einenu v'shuvcha l'tzion b'rachamin.
Amen.
Good. Good.
I'll have to get back to you first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
In fact,
Thank you.
Thank you.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.